This is my Spooktober shirt for today. It's the Ghosts, Super Mario Ghosts. Are they called Boos? I think they're called Boos. Are they called Boo? It's funny because if they are called Boo, I've got a cat down here whose name is Boo, and he's here with me. Would you like to meet Boo? I'm gonna get cat hair all over my shirt, but this is Boo. Boo is very aptly named. He is afraid of everything. He's our little black kitty. He's also our oldest kitty, aren't you? And he's like, I don't want to be held anymore. I'm scared. Here, I hold you like this. This is the way you like it. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll just put you down because you're like freaking out. He's a little camera shy. Don't leap. Probably got cat hair. He's our oldest cat that we currently have. We had a cat that was older, but that was Harvey, and Harvey died of old age. He actually died here in the house, which was nice. We gave him real high quality of life up until the end. Now Boo is our oldest, and he's not old enough to start having any health problems. He's probably, like, maybe in cat years, he's in his 40s. Which is totally cool. But he's my little buddy. And he comes down here with me to play video games. Speaking of playing video games, what am I playing? So I recently played Ad Infinitum. This is a survival horror game set in World War I. I played it on the PlayStation 5. Ad Infinitum is an indie survival horror game set during World War I. You play as two German brothers stationed at the front line in war-torn France. The game kicks off in the trenches. You start the game as an unknown soldier working the communications when a Morse code transmission orders your unit to scale the walls and advance upon the enemy. The chaos of war unfolds around you. Soldiers falling, screams echoing, and explosions shaking the ground. You run panicked across the duckboards, running through the trenches, gun in hand. It's a visceral and hellish experience that sets the tone for the rest of the game. After being knocked unconscious, you wake up bound in barbed wire, horribly mutilated, with your left hand blown off. You're stuck, screaming for help. And then a gunshot rings out, and the screen fades to black. You awaken a mansion and learn you are one of two brothers, the sons of a factory owner, who himself comes from a line of military men. The brothers are Johannes and Paul Schmidt, and you are playing as Paul. As you explore the mansion, you learn that one brother was apparently killed in the war, and the other has returned home with injuries so severe he is unable to feed or take care of himself. There's tension between Paul's parents, as his father pushed for the sons to enter the war and his mother protested. His mother also seems to have preferred Johannes as her favored son. Paul's grandfather, a decorated and well-known German general, saw Paul's father as a bit of a failure due to him being crippled. Near the end of his life, Paul's grandfather came to live at his home to be cared for. This caused further strife between Paul's parents, as his father was always trying to win his aging father's approval, and his mother was mistreated and berated by the overbearing general. While living there, his grandfather saw Paul as having the potential for military service and as someone who could carry on his legacy, and pushed him to join up for the war. Paul's family is generally pretty messed up. The grandfather views his son, Paul's father, as a failure in spite of his successful business. Paul's mother dislikes her father-in-law and his influence over the family. The mother prefers Johannes and coddles him. Paul's father calls Johannes soft as a result. The mother and the father bicker and argue, and the mother blames the grandfather for losing her two sons to the war. As you explore the mansion, you encounter a hooded female figure lurking in the halls, always just out of reach. You discover that your mother attempted a seance to bring your brother Johannes back from the dead, trying to insert his soul into a stuffed doll. Instead, she seems to have summoned an evil entity.
Once the sign is complete, you can light the candles. Very good. Now, find a personal item that belonged to the deceased. You could try the red ball. We have had some success with it in the past. Do you have the ball that belonged to your son? Good. Now take your seat at the table. We are ready to begin the seance. Take the deceased's personal object and place it in the center of the witch's foot. I repeat, take the ball and place it carefully in the center of the sign. We call tonight upon the Angeloi. Know that the occultist Dupre, whose voice speaks to you now and who has studied the chronicles of Akasha, is aware of your presence. Yes, I hear you. Oh, Angeloi and spirits of the will, servants of the Lord. The wisdom of the old moon is with you. Join with me now to create an astral bridge, free from the bonds of time and space.
The gameplay is reminiscent of Amnesia, with a focus on exploration, evasion, and puzzle solving. You'll navigate trenches filled with creatures that attack when they hear you, requiring stealth and strategy to survive. You must sneak and avoid them, or lay distractions like horns and radios to evade them. There's even a water chase scene that feels like a nod to Amnesia's iconic moment in the cellars, where you could only run on objects floating in the water. Darkness plays a significant role in the game. You'll often find yourself in nearly complete darkness, relying on a crank-powered light to navigate. This mechanic is used to great effect in a terrifying hospital ward, where you're pursued by hideous creatures cobbled together using prosthetics intended for amputees. These creatures freeze in the light and stalk you when the light is facing away from them. It's genuinely one of the scariest experiences I've had in a video game. Graphically, Ad Infinitum struggles a bit. The art design is decent, but the engine's limitations are apparent with jagged edges and an unstable frame rate. I also encountered some frustrating bugs. As an example, there was a section where I was exploring the father's study. The father had been working on a new gas the Germans could use in war, one that could bypass French gas masks. The formula for this gas was locked in a safe behind a trophy animal head on his wall. You have to place a horn to get the head to move, which reveals a locked safe which you must know a combination to open. The problem is, each object opens in the opposite direction, and due to the clunky object grabbing mechanics, when you reach the limit of how far a door or an object can open, your character lets go and the controls switch to camera movement, which means that you frequently open a door only to have your camera go flying off in the direction you were swinging the door. With this safe, the wild movements caused the trophy head to swing back shut while the safe door inside was still open, causing the game to think that the safe was closed. But trying to open the safe again gave a warning that I had used an incorrect combination, meaning I could no longer get at the items in the safe. I had to reload from an earlier save and redo a bit of the game just to get past this. Ad Infinitum is also a game that doesn't really respect your time. You frequently will find checkpoints before some long, drawn-out, sometimes unskippable cutscene, which is especially frustrating when you die and have to start over. One particularly egregious example of this was in the factory level, where I had to watch the same long, drawn-out cutscene of the area boss rising from his chair again and again, because afterwards my character kept running out of breath, trying to outrun the boss, and wound up being captured and killed. The game isn't just about the horrors of war. It's also about the often complex and messy nature of families. Paul's family is incredibly dysfunctional, with emotional abuse and neglect in equal measure. The grandfather views Paul's father as a failure, despite his successful business. The mother prefers Johannes, leading to tension and favoritism. These dynamics are portrayed realistically, making them difficult to watch, but very engaging. Ad Infinitum is a poignant exploration of the horrors of war and the complexities of family. The story is deeply personal and told with heart, which more than compensates for its technical shortcomings. There are 3 endings, 2 of which are quite depressing, but the third offers a beautiful message of hope and forgiveness. It moved me in a way that few games do. And without spoiling much, the final act of the game is a surreal and mind-bending sequence that really is among the best individual acts of any horror game. It's filled with trippy visuals and hidden meanings and was a complete blast to play. Despite its flaws, I highly recommend Ad Infinitum. It's a clunky, bug-ridden experience, but its story and atmosphere make it a game worth playing.